Looks like
Comic.
Lord.
Wake up, sleepyhead.
Rise and shine.
I need some coffee.
All right, everyone, grab your comics and let's get ready for the show. Well, almost forgot. Hit that subscribe button.
Man, good morning, BCL family. Listen, man, I'm solo dolo once again. No, I did not fire Dion, but he picked up some different hours on a morning shift. So, yeah, man, he ain't going to be with me this morning. He might pop up. But he's not scheduled to be on with me. Listen, man, if you're reading the title and you're still here, you're probably wondering, bro, why you have Miles? Why do you have Riri Williams, the most controversial black woman in all of comics? Newly controversial, because this, like 2 weeks ago, she wasn't controversial at all, really. I mean, she was on people's minds, but wasn't getting this much energy. There's a lot of stuff going on, man, and I hate to say it, man. I don't want to do the I told y'all so, but I've been like, basically, you're not going to hear nothing new out of me today. You're going to hear the same old broken message record. Listen, man, I'm just going to come out and say it. It's going to sound raw. You might have to come back and rewatch it. If you're getting your feelings, you might have to come back and rewatch this a little bit later, man, when you can get your mind right. But the title of this morning's rant, and I'm going to interact with you guys in the comment. Don't worry. I'm gonna lean over into the comments, see what's going on. Let's see who's over there. Says, good morning, everyone. Yeah, what's up, Sierra? Let me log off. Listen, man. Here's where the funny thing is where can I start? Because there's so many different starting points. There's so many places I can start with this Ironheart mess. It's unbelievable. But I think I want to start from the genesis. I remember when Ironheart first came out, it immediately was attacked. However, we were under a different dispensation, if you will. Basically, people were buying comic books to flip, and they looked at this as a great opportunity to flip some books. And Iron Man was hot. You had Riri Williams, black girl, new Iron Man. She could potentially explode. So a lot of people, even though they hated the concept, they got in line. They bought those books. The books were going for a nice little ticket. People, if you're not a collector, you don't remember that. If you weren't speculating, you don't remember that. Her variant, I think it's Iron Man #9, that variant, Storm armor that he had, that book was going for well over $1,000. Consistently going for well over $1,000. So I tell you what, man, let me grab this deal real quick, and I'm gonna let me get rid of this caller. I'm gonna send you guys over to a commercial. I'll hit y'all right back.
What do you do when you're black and blue, when your paycheck is not a sign of respect, and the most you can hope for is going home without scars from the superhero walls? Code of Honor, written by Chuck Dixon, spins a yarn about cops and heroes that you can never mistake one for the other. Officer Jeffrey Piper is a wide-eyed rookie who gets a lesson in ethics on his first few days on the job. He learns how the lines get blurred. He learns more blurry, all the more the worry. Still, he's the optimist. There's lots of overtime to go with thoughts that undermine his goal to be seen as a hero. But he gets a lesson in reality. That lesson being heroes fly while the masses die and cops serve only for crowd control. But leave it to Officer Piper to find sunshine in the cold, dark world. Trouble is, Officer Piper is so used to the darkness that the light he loves bothers him. She wants him to be better, which is a switch. saying that he wanted to be a hero at first, but like I said, the lines get blurred at times. Code of Honor is a 4-issue story that you can find in your dollar bins. Pick this up and you won't be able to put it down. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
Man, so we're back. Great story, by the way. Shout out to Richard. Listen, man, where was I? Riri used to be hot for a little minute. And then it exploded during the like the super hyper. I don't want to say Hotep age that we kind of had, but like Umar Johnson came on the scene. Everybody was like, we got to support Black characters. That was a thing for a while. George Floyd. You had like these little mini race riots that was going on social media. And Black people kind of fortified Riri. Was like, that's our girl. She's next in line. And then COVID hit. And she kind of maintained a little bit. And then Miles kind of was continuing to do his thing. He exploded through the roof. But then Riri just got left behind. And then they came out and said, oh, we're going to drop an Ironheart Disney Plus TV show back in 2020. And that kind of went nowhere. And then Chadwick Boseman dies. That changes everything. Chadwick Boseman dies. Whoever was team Black superhero, a lot of those people just left. Well, we don't have any Black superheroes without Black Panther in the movies. So a lot of those people left. A lot of those people. As an admin of one of the larger groups on Facebook, I literally watched these people leave. They had no reason. They felt like they had no reason. Some of them down there felt like they had no reason to live. And so with Chadwick Boseman, the energy got sucked out of the room. So then you get Wakanda Forever that introduced Riri. But I'm going to be fair, like she was that's when she first started getting beat up on. By Black people too. Because why is Riri here? Because they were already mad that Chadwick Boseman, they didn't recast that role of Black Panther. And then they gave us Shuri. And people didn't like that. And then on top of that, they gave us another Black female character. And then she caught so many freaking strays. Then the suit that they used in Wakanda Forever was not comic accurate enough for fans. It was its own thing to the MCU. And then it kind of felt like she was shoehorned in because they wanted to make sure that the Ironheart series was going to hit. So the delivery of her in the MCU really killed her comic. And so people really stopped really messing with Ironheart for 3 years after that. They were already mad at Marvel and then other things. The MCU started to tank. And so now it's 2025, five years later, they're rolling out Ironheart TV show. They're not hyping it up because they really don't probably believe in it. It was something that they made 5 years ago under a different energy, different vibration, right? Because I just told y'all that back in those days, it was different. What's up, BCL? What's up, Kevin Pitts? It was a different energy around what was going on. I remember Riri was coming out during the social unrest era. She was made specifically for that. All new, all different Marvel. It was dope for its time. It still can be dope now, but a lot of those writers, like Michael Bendis, he ain't writing a bunch of stuff for Marvel no more. The vibration that is in the front office at Marvel they're going back to their old ways, man. They're trying to get away from they're slowly trying to walk some stuff back. Kind of like how Walmart was walking back DEI. Well, more so Target, because Walmart was like, we ain't never really got a line for none of that stuff. Well, I'm sorry, they did. So I feel, even when I walk into comic book shops, it's not as diverse as it used to be. But you know what? I will say this. I almost don't blame them, because a lot of these stories, they're giving a lot of these diverse stories to people who aren't really invested in comic books, right? And they don't write the best stories. And they don't have the resume like some of these other writers do, nor do they have the resume of some of these white characters. They're just really getting started. I think what Riri came out in 2016, so it's almost which is about to be 9 years. You know, Moon Girl is immune to a lot of this stuff because it's like, well, she's a little girl and she's worked up to certain things. But trust and believe, she can get it too, and she might if they don't roll her route right. So now we got May. We got like maybe two trailers. Um, I don't know. We got two trailers this year, and then we just got the final one that they just dropped for Ironheart um, last week, and it looked okay. But I'm gonna be honest with you, the white armor is not. I mean, I get it that they're maybe trying to play homage to her very first armor that was basically hodgepodge together. This don't look hodgepodge together, man. This looks kind of white. And plus, man, let's keep it a buck, bro. She already had her hodgepodge armor. We saw that in Wakanda Forever, and then she had that red and black armor that she didn't know. It just was. I don't. It looked like it wanted to be Wakanda tech, but I also wanted to pay homage to Iron Man. This suit right here should have been the Riri Ironheart official armor in this episode. And some dummy who doesn't read comic books thought that this would be a good idea. 5 years later, the character's not doing well in comics, hasn't been doing well in comics for a while. But in 2020, when this was created, before Wakanda Forever was even done, they thought this was a good idea. And it's just is not how you do things. Now, what does this? Okay, we know this, Hirsch, but what does this have to do with? We kind of asked for this. Well, I'm glad you asked because we did. When you look at when we were asking for representation in the politically and socially unrest days, we wasn't asking for original characters like that. We were asking for to become characters that were already established. That is why Val Zod blew up. Remember when Val Zod? Oh, we're gonna Michael B. Jordan is a part of this. He might be Val Zod. That book exploded on the market. Okay, Static Shock. You know, I know Michael B. Jordan alleged was associated with that. The Black Batman with Jace Fox. Those books got hot. They got way more hotter than original black characters did. We're not asking. We're not on social. We're not hitting up Marvel. We're not complaining about black characters. We're complaining because we want to be Superman. We want to be Batman. We want to be the legacy characters. And then when it fits the narrative, we say, "Oh, why we can't get original characters?" But we're not posting. We're not talking. We're not advocating. We're not doing that because it's not that popular. We're not gonna get that many likes if we do the original route. The original characters got to get out of the mud, and unless you're a part of the four, you're literally in the limestone section. You're at the bottom. And the four, if you don't know, is what I consider Black Panther, Storm, Blade, and then Miles. Obviously, he's a legacy character, but he's benefiting so much. They wrote him out the right way in the animation. Because when he first came out, he was hated. I mean, Donald Glover, I did a whole video on what Donald Glover was facing because he was basically the inspiration behind will a black Spider-Man work? Because he dressed up like that in that, is it Parks and Rec? Or that one TV show? I wasn't impressed by the trailer. Rich talked about that on the show. I wasn't thrilled by the trailer, but 5 years ago would I have been? I probably would have because we were all in a trance. MCU was so great. 20 Endgame. Like, they literally could have gave us poop and they called it Iron Man's poop, and we'd have been screaming and hollering for it. But now you got to work hard. And now, during those days, a lot of people who did not want to see all the social, political, race swapping stuff, they kind of had to shut up or they were called racist. They can come out now and say what the hell they want to say now. And it's this, and guess what? The old school commander-in-chief is in there. A lot of people associate him with tons of racism. A lot of people don't. But it's just like, it's a new day. And guess what? Shout out to DC Comics for not bringing out Batgirl. Y'all remember that? Batgirl was done, ready to go out the theaters. But guess what happened? They say, you know what? This ain't the move. This ain't the lick we thought it was. And instead of us putting this out here and hurting the brand even more, let's just not release it. And yeah, we're going to lose some money, but the barn is already burning. We might as well just throw that on top of the pile. And that's probably, if this is trash, this is probably what they should have done. Well, white people think, because they're the ones in charge. Those are the ones that we run to. They're the daddy, because we won't press. Like, God forbid we press our billionaires. God forbid we take the Ironheart energy, right? And then we transfer it over to the black billionaires and say, hey, man, there's some good black original properties. Can we at least try to see if we can come up with our own streaming service, which we already have, and put it on there? Do some animation. Do some, even if it's barely in industry standard, I think it'll get a foot in the door for more investors. Do not allow it to come to Netflix. Maybe Amazon, but do not allow it to come to Netflix, because Netflix will own that entire property. You might get some residuals here and there. That's why we'll never see Supercell again, ever. They allowed that to pop out. Black people were talking about it. Not too many more people were talking about it, and it's gone now. But we're using small people. Actually, I don't see nobody reaching out to Byron Allen talking so, hey man, here's some original properties. It can be lucrative if you can get some black indie guys behind it. Honestly, and to be real, can the black indie guys handle the criticism? Can they be the Dan Slots and take the onslaught of people crying and complaining about these stories after they're produced? I don't know. But I would grab, if I'm Byron Allen, you better bring your portfolio. You better be diverse. You better have your stuff together. You better meet my deadline when we come and try to look at your portfolio to see if we're going to invest. You can invest on a short film, even a pilot episode, maybe three episodes of some animated episodes of things. You could probably get away with investing. Oh, animation studio, do it right. Because I know the DC Initiative brought in folks to do Milestone and a bunch of legacy characters, which is what was the move back then. Again, this was a different time. I think he could do that. Byron Allen can afford to probably make a $15 to $20 million investment on some animation. And that's probably on a really, really bigger high end. He could probably do it for cheaper, and people won't even know the difference. But we gotta turn the page, because it doesn't benefit us for Marvel to roll out black characters the way that they did Ironheart. They ain't do her right. They're not doing her right, and we can't control what they do. We can't control that, because it is put in their head by us that we want to be white. We want to be the black adjacent characters. As long as we get to put on the S, which is the most iconic symbol for entertainment, probably ever, we would rather do that than roll out Millennial Comics any day of the freaking week. And that's no shot to Millennial Comics. But it's like, it's so ingrained in our head that that's the pinnacle of, we've reached the mountaintop now. Darkstorm with Kevin Greavy, like, come on, man, Darkstorm is a hit. It just needs the investment. And black people have enough money to do it. Listen, right now, if black people wanted to, Kevin Greavy can run a Kickstarter. And he can, and the same people that brought all the smoke for recast T'Challa gets behind Darkstorm. The same people that get behind Blue Marvel can send Kevin Greavy some coins. Oh man, that sounds like too much joint effort, man. Why we gotta? Yeah, where do you think these white companies started? A lot of these white companies that did come from slavery get their money from old wealth like that. It was grassroots from their people, from their constituents. Those same people we can all send. A lot of people can afford to send at least $20 on a campaign. Come on, man. That movie made $1.something billion, man. And it wasn't all black money, but a big chunk of it was. You're talking at least $300-400 million was at least black folks, multiple times. And that was movie ticket money. You can send movie ticket money to Kevin Greavy tonight, and that movie will be optioned by a black studio. No way in hell a black studio will look at that and say, oh man, shoot, we ain't gonna let $400-500 million he raised for this character or we're gonna make a movie tomorrow. We're gonna start shooting today. But we ain't, nah, I'd rather be Batman. Nah, let me be Flash. That's representation. I want to be, and we say to ourselves, that if I'm Superman, Batman, and Flash, that means I'm equal to white guys when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to superheroes. That's the equator right there. That is the barometer for success. Not being an original black character, nah, man, that ain't popular. How many likes did they get over there at Concrete Comics? Oh man, I get more likes if I'm Black Superman. Let me do that. And I know you're gonna have to get out of the mud, but we gotta start somewhere because the crap that's going on with Ironheart right now is trash. It is complete trash. Now the show can be great, but it's going to be a wash. And guess what? For all the people that's like, oh, it's just white dudes out here talking bad. No. There's black dudes in the comments co-signing. And they ain't no coons. They literally don't want to see this character. And a lot of that is residue from Wakanda Forever. So this is where my rant with Ironheart ends. We got to start using all this Ironheart energy. And why Marvel do us like this, to really lean over into the Byron Islands and the black billionaires of the world to push the black, original, independent stuff. And yes, it is going to be kind of like Kaiser University. You're going to get a lot of submissions. And we need to take at least a year to comb through these submissions. And who's going to do all that? We got plenty of Negroes that can do that. Byron Island got a good team. Marcus Brown got a big team. They can cipher through a lot of these people who don't have their website looking funky. We're gonna go ahead and toss them to the side. Your website got to be together. Your portfolio got to be A1. We got to see that you've made some money. It's basically gonna be Shark Tank, and we're gonna go somewhere with this because if you're that mad about not getting a recast, if you're that mad about how Ironheart didn't get rolled out right. We didn't get Armor Wars, which people are pretending like they really cared about, which they didn't. Then use your energy to push it towards the black billionaires to greenlit some of these black original projects. We can't, again, I'm done with my rant on Ironheart. I'm gonna move on to something else. But a lot of us are still expecting black milk from white titties. And then we getting mad when it's just white milk coming out of there. Or it's a synthetic version. And I get that is brand recognition. I know. But we got to move. At some point, we got to turn the page on Marvel and DC. Energy-wise. Y'all can still go and collect their stuff. Y'all can still go and collect their black characters when they drop some. But just know, it is going to be a Disney comic book. It is going to be what they think black people want based off of what black people said they wanted. Based off of the cosplay they've seen, which is majority white and Japanese. We're saying one thing, but we're doing another thing. When there's a line for the Battle Beast book or what Robert Kirkman is doing, it's full of Negroes. When it's a line for another production, black people walk by and say, well, I'm going to wait till white people jump on. If I'm lying, R.I.P. Tortel Ornella, he was saying that they was doing that in the 90s. Black people were waiting for white people to say it was hot. Then they wanted to jump on. Just last week, I was talking to the creator of not Freestyle Comics, Andre Batts. He said, yeah, man, I still get guys that'll pass by my booth. And when white people come up, they'll buy it because they're curious. And then black people will turn around and want to grab a couple copies. We got to get out of that, man. When I go to cons, I see more black people cosplaying as white Japanese anime characters, but not their own original characters. And guess what? I tell them, guess what? It's not because they don't exist. It is simply because they know they ain't gonna they know it's not gonna go viral. Let's be honest. If I dress up like Alkalite, how viral is that gonna go? So I'm gonna dress up like Black Adam, a recognizable character. I get that, but be a trendsetter. Be Acolyte. Be a trendsetter. Be 5-star. Be a trendsetter. Oh man, who's that? Who's Nubia? from Urban Styles Comics. Allow people to come up and ask you. Listen, I never forget. I said I'm done. I never forget when I got a football scholarship out in Oklahoma. It was HBCU. And when I would come home over the summer, I played college football there. People ask, "Oh, so you play college ball? What college do you play at?" I play at Langston. They would say, "Livingston? No, I go to Langston University, Langstrom University." They couldn't even say the name right. That's how foreign Langston University was for them. In 2003, 2004, Langston was on the second episode of College Hill. A lot of you guys remember College Hill with BET, Ratchet, Ratchet Behind production. They came, and I remember the first season was at Southern University. The second season was at Langston. The second season was so ratchet at Langston. I think they made a deal to where they would never reproduce it and drop it on DVD. So you can't find none of those episodes anywhere. Somebody might have them, and later in a couple of decades might upload them. But yeah, I remember that. And then when I would come home, I would say, "Yeah, I go to Langston." "Oh man, I heard about Langston. Y'all be turned at that school." Well, they wasn't saying turnt back in those days. They were saying crunk. But yeah, man, it's just I understand brand recognition, man. But there's way more black people than y'all think that really want to be legacy characters. Y'all really think everybody be like, "Man, I want to do your own, create your own." That was a great slogan back in the social unrest George Floyd days. Oh yeah, man, you wasn't black if you wasn't saying we need to create our own. Because people's angry, people's upset, and people act like, "Oh, the oppressors, and oppressors." That was the thing. But now, man, this is like, man, where that cape at? I'm trying to be Superman. I'm trying to make some money. Bump all that. I mean, but hip hop did the same thing, right? Hip hop compromised and turned into rap. Street dudes, druggies, criminals took over hip hop, and then it got transformed into rap. So I don't know, man. Next thing, moving on. We gotta get away from that. So apparently, the longest standing plantation, or one of the oldest plantation, just burned down or partially burned down. I'm pretty sure they didn't let that motherfucker burn to the ground, but I could be wrong. And the Black Comic Lords had to throw up the Django, and we had to make it a comic book. And yeah, somebody probably needs to make an issue out of this. A one shot. Now, you gonna have some people with some old money that's gonna frown and might try to take a shot at you because this is a historic monument, and you guys, people's jobs were lost, and bro, this was a place of rape. This was a place of hell for many people. Probably not even just black folks. And I get that it's a historic place. So are a lot of places in America that's not just plantations. But black people are not fans. Like, I've been to a plantation. Been to two plantations. Been one in Florida and one in South Carolina for historic to see what was going on at the time. It was a horrific looking. And it's not a happy place. So we're not going to pretend like, well, it's historic. Okay, all its history isn't great. Well, it should be preserved. Okay. But when things burn, hey, don't be mad when I get excited about it. So everybody's not going to like that take. But shout out to the Comic Lords for making a variant out of it. Putting the Django on it. Don't mean we can't have no fun. We're honoring the plantation by putting a picture of his last will and testament, which it's burning in the background, and we putting the Django on it. I'm pretty sure these people didn't have a problem having doing and having the type of activities they were having back then, and we're going to enjoy the barbecue and the cookouts outside of the plantation today because we're turning the page. What was proper, what was decent, and what was the run of the mill, what was the average thing to do back then, it's not what it is today. So hey, things change, man. So shout out to the people who did not want to see Captain America. Shout out to the people that thought Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie was a joke. And Thunderbolts ain't looking so sweet right now. They're coming out. But man, they got a long way to go. They were sitting around 325. They got about 2 more weeks in them theaters, and they coming up out of there. Now, Can they make the 400? Can they surpass the $414 million that Captain America did? I don't know, but Captain America got way more marketing, and Captain America is a bigger brand. So I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like, oh, look, the black Captain America won. I guess, but the marketing was. I mean, dude, they spent probably the same amount of money just on marketing. And now we're in another time where people aren't just saying, "Oh, you made your money back, you won." No, even on this, the white boys is coming after this too, and they saying, "Yo, y'all didn't make, but y'all broke even, but y'all didn't make back all your money. It's a flop." So I think that's the standard now. If your movie is $180 million just to produce, and all the other sides and the fixings, bro, you better be making, like, that's the new normal. It's $500 million. Honestly, for any film during there now, that's under five, but that's like around 100 something odd in million, you better be making $500 million, or you ain't gonna hear the end of it. It just ain't. So prepare yourself, because that is the new normal. So they coming up, but third weekend we're going into the fourth. I think they might have 6 weekends, maybe 7. And guess what? Even if they do pass Captain America, they're never gonna make the 500 mil, bro. They're never gonna make that. Which society is gonna label this as a flop. There's been a lot of movies that people thought were dope, but they flopped. Meteor Man being one of them. I think it was a $14 million film. They made like $7 million at the box office in 1994, 1993. So yeah, man. I don't know. Take from it what you will. I haven't seen it. I'm gonna wait till it drop on Disney Plus. I just ain't got the energy. I haven't even seen Sinners. I just don't have the energy, man. And not physically. I just don't have. I don't want to keep. If it's not that good, somebody said, I ain't gonna say their name, but they be on this chat sometimes. They're gonna probably say something to me at DM later. But somebody said this was the best Marvel movie since Endgame. That says, maybe that's not saying that much, because Endgame was freaking heaven on earth compared to a lot of people, right? But this was considered the best movie since Endgame. I don't know. Maybe I misquoted it, because there's no way it was better than Deadpool Wolverine. But maybe it was that person who was like, "Man, I'm not a Deadpool. It was too kind of X-rated. It was more so off the chain than anything." Um, what's we got? So, is this the last thing we're gonna talk about? No. I'm gonna jump over here. So I picked up Transnubians, one of the books during the social unrest era that I saw, 1995. Art is weird, but it has the Afrocentric, Afrofuturism art on it. I bought the book, the comic, and I also bought the poster. I know the poster is gonna be hard to find. I'm gonna tell you something. When I say mint, oh my god, the poster is mint. I'm like, bro, is this 1995? 30 years ago. There's no way this thing must have been kept inside of a air conditioned warehouse since 1995, because it was never opened. That's just how crisp it looked. Like, I'm probably the first human that it ever saw. So I bought this for the 15 on eBay. Do I got some change for this homeless man? I do not. Dang it. I hate when I don't have nothing. Oh, he ain't got no shoes on. What's I gonna say? Comic book was probably like $15 too. Well, comic was like more like 10. But that book, I want to say, man, somebody was spiking that book because of the social unrest, and I think that book was going for like 100 back in 2020. Now it's done cooled off. Nobody knows about it. Nobody cares about it. Now I will say, I did buy it for cover, because when I opened up the book, the art is a little downgrade from the inside, but it's practically unreadable to me. It is extremely, extremely busy on the inside. All the characters are on top of each other. It's so busy. And I don't want to be disrespectful, but it's unreadable for me. But I think it's really, really deep into the African Egyptian mythology with all the gods and stuff like that. It was just, it's too busy. The art is just too busy, so I couldn't hold on to it. I just had to close it up. I said, cool, I got it. Yeah, that would be dope as hell. I guarantee if Bucky was the leader and that they actually put Songbird in replacement of Ghost of the team, Thunderbolts would have made more money. Songbird? Well, the trajectory of the Thunderbolts comic book was a lot different from the Thunderbolts today. Honestly, they should have brought Nazimo in. On what the freak was they thinking? But I mean, Wakanda has him, so they kind of screwed that up. Again, people that are making these decisions are casuals. They're not comic heads. And if they were comic heads, they would know better. Um, but they're not. They're freaking people that are probably 40 years old that just jumped into the MCU that got a DEI job, didn't earn it, white guys. Okay, listen, something you ain't never heard before, right? DEI white guys that jumped in. Marvel, I think this will work. I've worked on Romeo and Juliet. I've worked on this film, that film, but they don't they weren't readers, right? They don't have a collection. They don't have any slabs. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, they didn't watch any cartoons in the '90s because this the Thunderbolts roster. I get what they were trying to do to try to keep it aligned with the MCU, which way they were going. But yeah, bro, this wasn't the move. This wasn't the move. They could have brought in Zemo, made it shaped up and look a little bit more like the comics. But they've already said they don't even want people to read the comic books. And I think the argument might be, well, if you draw too much inspiration from the stories, the freaking artists and writers might rear up and say, y'all owe us some money, and they probably got a good case for it. I don't know. Maybe they didn't sign certain contracts back then. I don't know. There is a reason why Marvel is keeping the movie side away from the comics, as far as they don't really want them to read the source material. And I think there's some legality to that we're just not talking about. Um, so let's keep going here. What is this? So a couple years ago, I don't want to say I made a prediction, but I kind of connected. Okay, Craven the Hunter should have gotten his serum probably from Wakanda. Craven the Hunter came out before Black Panther, right? In the Marvel universe, he came out in '63. Black Panther came out in '66. But Marvel didn't care kind of in '63 where the serum came from. But later, in 2021, I'm like, bro, he probably got it from Wakanda. You probably retconned that. So I made a whole post about this in 2021 or 2022 about how it has to be kind of you know, maybe a derivative of the heart shaped herb, right? Later, Marvel actually creates a story out of that. I think in 2023 or 2024, it's got like girl that looks like Calypso. I'll post what comic it was, but I already made the prediction. And I think Marvel might have grabbed some inspiration. They couldn't go page for page, but they definitely grabbed many inspiration. I think because I think Marvel low key be in our group. I mean, where else you gonna go to really see what's going on with Black comics? Because ain't no spaces, ain't no groups that's been long standing with actual collectors that I've seen. And if they are, let me know because I want to join them. I don't want to just be in Black comic lords. I want to be in different spaces. And that's no shade to what we're doing, but I'll just say this. I think they probably grabbed some inspiration because they went on and made a one shot based off this, which I still need to buy. It's a Spider Man issue, and it basically has a Calypso looking chick who's actually Wakandan, and she got the derivative of the heart shaped herb. And they talked about Craven the Hunter back in the 20s and 30s or something like that. But I will upload that to the comment section later. But why are you bringing this up? Well, because Marvel is doing the Hulk Wages War on Wakanda in Marvel's Imperial War Black Panther. That this just dropped this month. Well, that's interesting because let me set this up. Hulk and Black Panther probably interacted. I don't know, maybe 4 times, something like that. Maybe 4 times. Back when they fought in the '70s with Hawkeye and T'Challa took down the Hulk, which is very, very smart. Um, the priest run, when Hulk and Black Panther interacted, when then Indestructible Hulk and Blade and Black Panther they interacted there, and now randomly all of a sudden, they're going to do an Imperial War, and Hulk is coming to Wakanda. 616, I think. It's very interesting. Again, looks like somebody drew or pulled from a just a touch, just a hint, and that's how you're supposed to do it. So I can't be knocking on Marvel's door saying y'all stole directly from me. But bro, if I would have pulled Intergalactic Black Panther, and if I would have literally said that in this, it would have been no doubt they pulled. So why am I talking about this? Do you know your boy made the same kind of synopsis? Just a little bit. This funny. Back in January, I made like a Black Comic Lords variant, which I think is an amazing cover. I would buy the snot out of this. I've actually posted this. If you want to see the full cover, go to our Black Comic Lords YouTube channel and look at the things that we've posted. Click on post and you'll see it. It's got music to it. Actually, shorts. It's got music to it and everything like that. Basically, Hulk rages war on Wakanda. He's coming. This is back. This would have been back in 1992. So mine is a period piece, and theirs is going to be a period piece because it's going to be it's going to be, I think, during the time of the Intergalactic War of Wakanda. I could be wrong about that, but I just think it's just funny because nobody cares about Hulk and Black Panther coming together. Historically, they don't have a resume for it, right? And so what I like to do what we like to do on our variants is pull things and put Black people in places or pit them in situations where they normally aren't allowed to go or where they're not never been normalized. And so having Hulk come to Wakanda doesn't make any sense, but I think it'll make for a dope story. So I definitely wanted to just show the parallels between the two stories. Marvel definitely made a U-turn, but then they made a couple of lefts, a couple of rights to spin it around a little bit to kind of pull it away far enough. But I definitely think they drew some inspiration because it would have been pitched around the same time, maybe even in February. But that's a story for another day. That's a conspiracy for another day. But that's all I got for y'all, man. The whole Ironheart thing is bonkers. We'll talk about it when the show drops. But if we don't get the Ironheart suit, shame on Marvel. But I don't know. That new Gladiator armor BP and Hulk looks kind of fire, not gonna lie. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of I like Black Panther with no armor. I like the old school, the Black Panther nobody wants to talk about, who just had on the outfit with no armor, no vibranium. He was just getting out of the mud. Nobody likes that version because it's not regal. It doesn't have all this glory that comes with it. So don't add anything to T'Challa. Even though what they got him right now with the paint on his mask because he's exiled to Wakanda, I ain't into none of that. It looks a little bit more tribal, but I like old school. But anyways, man, I got to get out of here. Appreciate y'all for joining me. Peace.